I have a new laptop. My friends in the Fang Fam, which if you don't know what the Fang Fam is, go away, car. You're too noisy. If you don't know what the Fang Fam is, we are a group on TikTok of cosplayers, role players, storytellers, and other creative types. The tag was started by my friend, the vampire Jack Townsend, and they did what the British call a whip round, gathering money, and they got me a new laptop for my birthday. And I'm really happy with it. So I decided I'm going to film a video for YouTube with my brand new laptop. And also, the shirt from my friend Amber says, my favorite essential oil is chloroform. And that is a dig at anti-vaxxer wackadoos who think that their stupid doTERRA and Young Living essential oils can cure things like cancer and autism and homosexuality and all sorts of other nonsense. And frankly, ladies, you can buy better quality essential oils at Dollar Tree. And the only thing essential oils are good for is covering up the smell of poop in your bathroom. They're also good for causing organ failure and death in young children and pets. So stop putting essential oils in your food and trying to kill your own children. Just vaccinate them instead. Okay? Okay. So, did you know that there is such a thing as a curler fetish? Yes, there is such a thing as a curler fetish. It sounds very silly, but, you know, a fetish is what a fetish is. As long as it's not hurting anybody and it's done between consenting adults, what does it matter? However, anytime I have mentioned on YouTube that I use curlers to set my hair, I get pervy messages from guys saying, can you please make a video of you curling your hair? You know, and say what you want about the foot fetish crowd. At least it seems that the foot fetish crowd is willing to offer money for foot pics. I've never gotten such an offer out of the blue, but at least they're willing to offer money for it. The curler fetish crowd never offers to pay for it. It's like, okay, no, thank you, I'm going to block you instead. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, I hear that some women can get up to $300 for one single picture of their feet. And, you know, I can no longer afford one of my migraine medications because I can no longer get it for free. It's $710 a month for a shot to prevent my migraines. It's like, okay, you know, if there was a way to anonymously sell pictures of my feet so it couldn't be traced back to me and I'm not going to get any creepers at my door, man, I could use that money to pay for my migraine medication because I don't qualify for the Get It For Free program because I've got health insurance, but my health insurance won't pay for my migraine medication. So, curler fetish guys, my PayPal and my Venmo is in my link tree. Pay up! And ignore the chaos behind me. This is what happens when your doctors think a gastric bypass will cure your depression, you know, instead of actual treatments. And you know what, honey? Doctor, dear, I'd rather be fat than have a gastric bypass. Don't worry, I actually am getting treatment for it, finally, through my neurologist for my migraines. But all the same, you know, it's just like, okay, I'm feeling better, but I still don't have the energy to clean up. I also have a lamp that's broken, and it hasn't been fixed yet. That's why that lampshade is there. Don't worry about this. Routine blood work for my endocrinologist. I do have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and that means every 3 months I have to go see an endocrinologist because when you have PCOS, you are more at risk for certain types of cancers, more at risk for diabetes, which I am not diabetic. I'm not even close to diabetic. I know people find that shocking because of how fat I am, but my A1C or whatever it's called, it's always well within normal range. but still have to go every 3 months. There's also the anemia issue. Now, I mentioned anti-vaxxers, and I'm sure some rando in the comments is going to be either, just because I don't want the COVID vaccine doesn't make me an anti-vaxxer. First of all, yes, it does. Yes, it does. If you are capable of getting the COVID vaccine, if you don't have any sort of legitimate medical reason to not be able to have it, you are morally obligated to get it to protect those who cannot. If you do not get the COVID vaccine, you're an anti-vaxxer and a selfish pig. On top of that, when I talk about anti-vaxxers, I'm talking about these moronic Karens who go around saying that vaccines cause autism, or that vaccines cause homosexuality, or that vaccines contain Satan's urine. Yes, these are all actual claims. I have seen anti-vaxxers claim that homosexuality and transgenderism did not exist before vaccines. Yes, it did. And that eating a raw organic vegan diet will turn gay people straight and trans people cisgendered, which I kind of hope Brad Mondo sees this video because he's a gay vegan. I would love to hear his reaction to the fact that there's a bunch of Karens out there who think that by eating a vegan diet, Brad Mondo will miraculously turn straight. Which, no, first of all, it's not a miracle. There's nothing wrong with being gay. It's just how some people are born. Okay? Nothing wrong with being trans either. It's just how some people are born. And I know I'm supposed to be using the rat tail comb to separate my hair, but I found that when I try to do that, I get these huge chunks no matter how hard I try to divide it very small. So it's just a lot easier to use my fingers and then occasionally comb out any tangles I see. Now, obviously, I can't do perfect rows because I'm doing this on myself. In fact, this is actually my first time seeing how all over the place my curlers are, because I have never done this in the mirror. And I might not do my whole head on camera, simply because it's going to make the video way, way, way too long, because I do have to take little breaks and rest my shoulders. I have osteoarthritis in both shoulders from 22 years of shelving books at the library. So I do have to take a moment, kind of let the pain dissipate, and then start again. Setting your own hair is not easy. My mom's very good at setting her own hair, but that's because she is a trained hairstylist. Whereas I am just Jamie. So, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I've been taking voice lessons since I was 16. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case. Just before the pandemic, my vocal coach, Robert Henthorne, Mr. H, told me that he had been diagnosed with cancer. So, for a while, up until the vaccines came out and he was feeling up to it, no lessons whatsoever. And then the lessons were sporadic, depending on how he was feeling. Sometimes he would feel good, and sometimes we would have the lesson scheduled, and he would fall asleep and not show up. And I am sorry to say that Mr. H passed away in July. He lost his battle with cancer. And I miss him so doggone much. Because he was more than a vocal coach to me. He was a friend. He was a second father. He listened to me when nobody else would. He took it seriously when I told him that in junior high, I was repeatedly sexually assaulted by a group of boys. Every single day. He was about the only one who actually took it seriously for a long time. Because I have gotten messages from my fellow women that flat out say, that never happened to you. Because fat, ugly cows like you don't get raped. Only beautiful women like me do. I've had family members say to me, you weren't raped, you were just touched. You were groped a little. Get over it. Sure, it was just touching over the clothes of my private parts of my body. Just as emotionally damaging. You know, and I wasn't as fat then as I am now. I was probably about 20 pounds overweight, if that. You know, so yeah. Mr. H meant a lot to me, and I miss him every day. You know. And you know, it's people like him is what I'm referring to when I say you are morally obligated to get the COVID vaccine. Because when you get the COVID vaccine, you are not only reducing your own risk, which, yes, you can still get COVID if you get the vaccine. It just means that you're not going to die of COVID because your symptoms are going to be less. You're less likely to pass it on to others. But you're also protecting people that have cancer, people that are immunocompromised, people who are legitimately allergic, children who are too young to get the vaccine. You know, every vaccine, if you are capable of getting any vaccine, you are morally obligated to get it. If you have children that can be vaccinated against measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, diphtheria, pertussis, polio, because polio is back thanks to the anti-vaxxer wackadoos, you are morally obligated to vaccinate your child. And if you don't vaccinate your child, you are a child abuser, period. There is no question about it. You are abusing your child. There is no moral difference between not vaccinating your child and starving them. Because either way, you were actively trying to kill your child. You were actively trying to kill your child. You know, so I am sorry, but all anti-vaxxers should be charged with child abuse. That's just the facts. You know, as long as I am going off on tangents and lectures and everything, I need a favor from all of you out there in internet land that are better with Google searches than I am. I need to win an argument with my friends. You see, I have, as of this morning, 81,000.8. Well, it's put 81.8K. So over 81,000 followers on TikTok. My friends insist that this means I am an influencer. I am not an influencer. I refuse to accept that title because I am not an influencer. Period. I do not have the video views to be an influencer. I do not get the offers from brands. I mean, yeah, okay. I have a code with scarecrow fangs, which is, I'll put it in the I'll put the code in the description of my video, since I don't know how to edit to put the code up here. But you can get 10% off from their website, Scarecrow Fangs, with my code. But that did not come from being an influencer at all. That was just me talking on Instagram with one of their social media people, and I said to them, I love your product. Your product is amazing, because They are amazing fangs. They're really super comfortable and just really super easy to use. And I hope one day I can be worthy of getting code from you. Because my friend Jack, he has a Scarecrow Fangs code, right? And they're like, oh, sure, we'll give you a code. Excuse me. We'll give you a code for 10% off. You know, you don't have to wait. But that's it. That's it. And I refuse to accept the title influencer because I do not think I'm an influencer at all. I do not have the video views. I looked it up. I know I saw an article once saying that you had to have a minimum of 100,000 followers on any social media platform. I'm not just talking TikTok, I'm talking Instagram, YouTube, what have you. You have to have a minimum of 100,000 followers to be considered an influencer. Another article I read said 10,000 followers and thousands of video views a day. With a few rare exceptions, my videos on TikTok rarely break 400 views. There's some of them that never break 100 views. So no, I am not an influencer. You know, besides, who ever heard of a middle-aged fat woman being an influencer, right? Influencers are people who are under 40, you know, who are beautiful. That's not me. I and I know one of my friends is going to be like, when you say you're ugly, you're saying I'm ugly. Well, no, I'm not. You are not ugly, my dear friend. One thing, you are younger than me. And let's face it, when it comes to society, women who are younger are considered more beautiful than those of us who are old hags. Okay? I am talking strictly about myself. Because for one thing, I see myself naked. And I know I do not have an attractive body when I have no clothes on. You know what? Maybe I won't pause this video because I am doing this a lot faster than I normally do. I think distracting myself by talking is distracting me from the pain in my shoulders. You can see it's just kind of all over the place. But, you know, if this means that some pervy guy is going to drop $50 in my PayPal, then that would be very nice, you know? I wish I was an influencer because then maybe if I was an influencer, I could get my Emgality for free again. Because the pharmacy company would be like, "Ooh, this is an influencer who suffers from migraines. If we give her medication for free, maybe we can get more doctors to prescribe it. Because, dang, that stuff works." I still had a few breakthrough migraines, but you gotta consider the stress I've been under for the past year. I mean, last year, every year my parents and I, we go on a family fishing trip, right? And it's just been them and I. It used to be my brothers as well, but, you know, my brothers have their own separate lives now. So it's just mom, dad, and I. Well, we barely get up there, right? Last year. And within a few hours, mom's having trouble breathing, high elevation and everything. She ended up having to go in for emergency pacemaker surgery. So we never actually had our fishing trip. Because same day we were up there, she was going in for emergency pacemaker surgery. We spent 3 days in Virginia City, Nevada, which isn't part of the fishing, but we always start out in Virginia City, Nevada, while mom was in the hospital in Carson City. And then we go home. We have to make it home all in one day because the hospital said so. They actually kind of wanted to send her home by ambulance to make sure she got home in one day, but we couldn't really afford that. And not that long goes by. Mom's back in the hospital. This time for an infection of cellulitis in her legs. So she spends 3 days in Hoag Hospital down here. Then one night, I should say, I'm going to take Molly out potty, and I noticed Mom in her chair looking very strange, kind of gasping like a fish, and her eyes just fluttering and not responding to anything. And I said to Dad, something's wrong with Mom. And I take Molly out because she's going to go crazy if I don't take her out immediately, and Dad would have to handle it anyway. There was nothing I could do. She had a stroke. And then she had to spend 3 days in one of the filthiest hospitals I've ever seen. I am sorry. I have a review on it on Yelp. It's a hospital of Fountain Valley. Truthfully, the doctors have all said that it has a horrible reputation. And I'm just going to say it, because if they try to come in and sue me for it, even though I'm not mentioning them by name, just mentioning what city that they're in, they come in and try to sue me for it, it's just going to end up being proven that they are a filthy hospital. I'll tell you another thing about it. Both Mom and I have a lot of food allergies, right? They never bothered to ask Mom what she's allergic to once she was able to respond, because she lost about 24 hours. She doesn't remember anything from the night she had the stroke until she woke up in the hospital. So they were serving her food she was allergic to. So we've had emergency pacemaker surgery, cellulitis infection, stroke. Not long after that, Mom's in the hospital again, Hoag this time. Thank the gods. She has MRSA. MRSA. Yes. I can't get this one in. And the one good thing about it is Mom was hospitalized so many times that the health insurance actually told Dad that he didn't have to pay. Because otherwise we would have owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Probably would have had to put another mortgage on the house to pay her hospital bills or run a GoFundMe or something. So you got all that stress. Still have to go to work where, I swear it's the amount of fluorescent lights. Because from the time I had my hysterectomy to deal with the issues of my extremely severe anemia to when I got transferred to this particular library, I didn't have any migraines. Within a few months of me being transferred to this particular library, which has lots of fluorescent lights and very little natural light where we work, there's natural light on the other side of the library, but not at the circulation desk or anything, I started having migraines again. So you got that. You got my vocal coach having cancer. A man who, like I said, was like a second father to me. So much stress. And that really added on to the migraines. I will say this. Mom has recovered from the stroke really, really well. She doesn't have any slurring of speech. All she has is a little bit of weakness in her hands. And her hands are already weak because, she's 79 years old and she has arthritis. That's going to happen. So, this video is already almost a half hour long, but I'm sure the guys with the curler fetish are enjoying this despite my rambling. So yeah, last year was a very stressful year. I can't remember what started, and I know I was telling you guys to help me prove to my friends that I am very much not an influencer, which, yeah. Again, I wish I was an influencer so I could get my migraine medications for free, or at least, start making a lot more money than I make at the library, so I could actually afford the $710 a month. If I was an influencer, if I actually was an influencer and people actually listen to me, I could probably shame my health insurance into paying for my Emgality, so I could start taking it again And other people who can't get Emgality because it's $710 a month could start getting their Emgality. Very much not an influencer. So, see, my friends think I'm too hard on myself. I think I'm just being honest. I don't let, obviously there's times you have to lie to protect somebody's feelings. That's just a must. Sometimes a person's feelings is way more important than being truthful. But when it comes to myself, I insist on being honest. And if I called myself an influencer, I would be lying. And I refuse to lie about myself like that. So I do need help because I refuse to lose this argument with my friends. I do need help proving to them once and for all so we can stop this foolishness that I am very much not an influencer. And despite what one of my friends says, no, there is no man who simps for me. Okay? I am not the kind of person anyone simps for. Except for maybe guys with a curler fetish. Which again, you're gonna ask for videos of me putting curlers in my hair, which this is the only time I actually plan on doing it. But if you're gonna ask for videos like that, then from any woman, or any long-haired man for that, or any non-binary person who uses curlers, offer money. Because you got to consider, we are spending the money on the shampoo and the water and the electricity for the hair dryer and the electricity to film the video. The least you can do is compensate us. Again, say what you want about the foot fetish crowd. At least the foot fetish crowd offers money. And doggone it, I have cute feet. I mean, yeah, I've had ingrown toenail surgery, but I have stubby little toes, and I am a size. This is U.S. sizing, by the way, from anybody who's not in America. 6.5 extra wide. Average American woman's shoe size is an 8 narrow. Another reason why offer me money if you're going to ask for things like curling videos or feet pics or what have you, because there is only one shoe store I could get shoes that fit me, and the owner retired, and now I'm going to have to order all my shoes online because, again, the average American woman's shoe size is an 8 narrow, so most places do not carry under a size 7. And pretty much nobody carries extra wide. They'll carry regular wide, but not extra wide. And just a pair of tennis shoes can cost about, close to $300, if not more. All right. So, there you go. For all you folks out there with a curler fetish, I have finally made a video of me putting curlers in my hair. PayPal and Venmo is in my link tree. Right now, I am competing in Face of Horror, which gives a chance to be in an independent horror movie, along with other benefits, but I've always wanted to be in a horror movie since I was a little girl. So that link to vote for me is in my link tree. Vote for me, because this face belongs in a horror movie. I don't even need any makeup to be scary. And please help me prove to my friends that I am very much not an influencer. Not an influencer. And, oh God, I bet one of them is going to send this to Jack and say, can you please tell Jamie she's an influencer? To which I will say to Jack, I am not an influencer. Jack, you are an influencer, okay? But I am not an influencer. I can't influence squat. If I was an influencer, people would vaccinate their kids. They would stop claiming that veganism can cure homosexuality. And they would stop believing that the earth is flat. And they would start accepting that abortion is health care and a fetus is not a baby. Because even the Bible says that life begins at birth, not conception, birth. Oh, and in Judaism, abortion is allowed if the pregnant person's life is in danger. And since Jesus Christ was first and foremost a Jew, that means Jesus is pro-choice. And also, banning abortion in America violates the promise of freedom of religion in the Constitution. Yes, any state that bans abortion is violating our constitutional rights to freedom of religion, because there are religions that allow for abortion. So, yeah, if I was an influencer, people would actually listen to me on that. But I'm not an influencer, so they don't. Bye!